Yo, alright, I'm finally back with another cover story video. And I know it's been a hot minute since the last one, but in my defense, I've been making a lot of other videos y'all can watch, right? Alright, well, I'm here now, that's all that matters. And this time, I think we have way more interesting cover stories to talk about. Mostly because the characters are more relevant, but also because the proceedings of the cover stories are just more interesting to me. Like, I'd be lying if I said Django and Wapol were the most interesting One Piece characters ever. But this time, we have some characters that you might actually think are the most interesting One Piece characters ever. Starting out with Gedatsu. Okay, trust me, we'll have more relevant characters later on. But we open up with Gedatsu falling out of the sky. And I know this is One Piece, but this has to be like 20,000 feet. He falls 20,000 feet straight into the ground and survives. But he falls into this hot spring area and meets this bald dude named Goro. I mean, he's not bald, but he just feels bald, you know? Like, some people just have that bald spirit. Gedatsu and Goro talk a little bit and end up sharing their dreams with each other. Goro wants to create an island of hot springs, and Gedatsu wants to become the boss of the Blue Sea. Whatever that means. Gedatsu has nothing better to do, so he helps Goro with his plan of digging holes. He goes through his first day learning the basics of the job, you know, bathe, keep yourself fed, blink. Eventually, after a bunch of digging, they come across something big. A giant mole with mining gear named the Earth Boss. Hey, it's One Piece. Gedatsu's first instinct is to knock the mole out, and now it works for him. What? With the mole's help, they can dig way faster and get their hot springs. The hot springs are booming, but the eruption brings out the Forest Boss, who's this fat baboon looking thing. Hey, it's One Piece. So Gedatsu knocks him out and makes him work for them too. Eventually, they dig so far that they end up in the middle of Alabasta, and we find out that Goro is actually Koza's uncle and Toto's brother. Now their hot springs company is ready to open, and the Forest Boss has built a huge base. They build a giant tunnel straight from Alabasta to their hot springs, which is insane for so many reasons. But at that point, Gedatsu is satisfied in calling himself the boss of the Blue Sea. But really, he's just a desk clerk. I mean, it's pretty cool though, because all the royalty from Alabasta come over. We see Vivi and Igaram, but at the end of the day, he is just a desk clerk. But as someone who doesn't really care for Skypiea that much, I really like this cover story. It made me like Gedatsu way more, but not as much as the Earth Boss. That's my guy. Doesn't have a lot of importance, but a fun little endearing story, you know? Reminds me a lot of the Hachi story. Our next cover story is about Miss Golden Week and Baroque Works. This is obviously a little bit after Alabasta, but if you remember, Miss Golden Week never was in Alabasta. She got left on Little Garden, which is where we start our story. And we see Miss Golden Week, who's apparently been living on the island since Little Garden, with Mr. Five and Miss Valentine. The newspaper comes and it announces Baroque Works' downfall and the arrest of their top officers. Immediately, Miss Golden Week wants to go break them out, so she hypnotizes a pterodactyl to help them. Okay. On their way to whatever prison the rest of Baroque Works is being held at, it starts to rain, which causes Miss Golden Week's hypnotic paint to wear off. The pterodactyl flings them off and they end up falling to Vacation Island. But no relaxing vacation for them because the Marines are everywhere. Hina, Fullbody, and Django from a previous cover story are here, searching for the missing officers. So our main characters disguise themselves, and why is their design low-key better? Miss Valentine especially. This should have just been her original outfit. She got that shit on. The disguises couldn't be that good though, because Hina recognizes them instantly. Hold on, these fucking traitorous animals. Hina arrests Miss Valentine very easily, but Mr. Five and Miss Golden Week get away. Interestingly, all the posters have Mr. 3 on them, even though Mr. 3 hasn't been with us this entire cover story. And here he is. Hold on, that 3 kinda go hard. In the midst of his escape, Mr. 3 comes across Mr. 2, who looks oddly normal. Cutting back to our main story, Miss Golden Week and Mr. 5 are trying to rescue Miss Valentine when Mr. 3 rolls in tied up. Except it's not Mr. 3. It's Bon Clay, who starts beating the hell out of Fullbody and Django. Now it's just him and Hina, and Bon Clay must love sacrificing himself because he does it again so the rest of the crew can get away. They steal one of the Marine ships and make their way to the Navy prison, but like, this definitely isn't the prison Crocodile is in, right? They pretend to be captured prisoners to get in, and hold on, they are here. How you got the whole gang in one cell? Ain't you supposed to split them up? Regardless, everyone's there like it's a big old family reunion. They hatch a completely unexplained escape attempt, but Crocodile and Mr. 1 decide to stay behind just because. What the is wrong with you? Before they leave, Miss Golden Week uses her powers to give everyone new costumes based on their dreams. Most notably, Crocodile is given a Pirate King outfit, just like the one Roger wears. The remaining members find an abandoned house and make it their own, turning it into a spider cafe. Meanwhile, Crocodile and Mr. 1 through 3 are sent to Impel Down. This cover story feels very similar to Django's cover story with all the costumes and the hiding from the Marines, but I did like the costumes in this one better. And we got to see my nigga Bon Clay and Crocodile, that's my dog too. So you know, fun little cover story. And it's interesting seeing how Mr. 2 and Crocodile ended up in Impel Down. And Mr. 1, I guess. But next we have probably the most anticipated cover story and the most popular cover story in all of One Piece, Enel. At the end of Skypiea, after Luffy finished putting the beats on him, Enel got in his ship and left to the moon. I guess to start his own kingdom up there, with no people. When he gets there, the moon, or Fairy Verth as he calls it, looks pretty empty. But using his mantra, Enel is able to sense things just below the surface. Enel climbs down and finds a little person face down, and his first instinct is to attack it. You can definitely tell him and Gedatsu were close. The little guy doesn't seem hurt by this though. In fact, the lightning wakes him right up. Apparently this person was a soldier in some war, and he leads Enel back to the battlefield where many more of these little people lay seemingly dead. But while they do that, they're snuck up on by a space pirate who stabs Lil Bro. And what is this thing? It's like a big rat dog person. Hey, it's one. The giant rat tries to stab Enel, but obviously it goes straight through him. Enel knocks him out, but as soon as he does, an explosion goes off in the distance. Enel is enraged since people are destroying his land. Who does this nigga think he is?
I just told you who I thought I was. A god.
We see more of the space pirates and oh my god, what is that? Hey, it's... The space pirates plan to excavate the ruins under the surface, which, why are there ruins on the moon? What has been going on up here? It gets even more confusing when we get a flashback of the little soldier and see that he's a robot created by a human. His name is Dr. Sumiki, and apparently he made all these little robots. One day they were gazing at the moon when a massive explosion went off. Dr. Sumiki is shocked by this and chokes on a dumpling and dies. What? Hey, it's no! To avenge their creator, the bots use balloons to float to the moon. How much do these niggas weigh? You know what? It doesn't matter. They blame the space pirates for his death and start a war with them. And them boys got maxed out by one space pirate. But luckily for them, they have Enel to avenge them accidentally. They thank him for his help and Enel attacks them anyway. Yo, Enel's a dick. Then he decides to check the ruins the pirates were searching and finds an entire city down there. And then he starts attacking the whole city. Is something wrong with this nigga? But by electrocuting the whole city, Enel accidentally turns all the power back on, waking up all these sleeping robots that weren't made by Dr. Sumiki. So what the fuck? The bots all thank Enel and accept him as their new leader. They show him these hieroglyphs that definitely have zero relevance and have nothing to do with anything going on in the story right now or any importance to the overall story as a whole. But hey, now Enel has the kingdom he's always wanted. What is he gonna do with it? Fun little cover story with interesting implications about the future and the past of One Piece. I just want to know what those space pirates were. What the fuck was up with that? But we go from one fan favorite villain to the next because our next story is about Rob Lucci and CP9. And it's crazy because after Enies Lobby, the world government just left these niggas. They just left them on the island to die. Bluno uses his door fruit to rescue the rest of CP9, but now it's like, we're broke, homeless, what the fuck are we gonna do? And the world government is actively searching for them since I guess they know too much. They obviously can't stay there, so they run away to St. Poplar in search of medical attention for Lucci. Damn, that boy Luffy must have really put their hands on that boy, cause ain't no way he the only one that's still in critical condition. The rest of CP9 start doing street shows and odd jobs to earn money for Lucci's medical bills. Once they've earned all the money, they use the extra to go shopping and enjoy themselves. I feel like you should have used that money towards getting a house or something, but okay. After getting his treatment, Lucci is finally awake and discharged from the hospital. They go bowling, but like always, chaos follows us. The Candy Pirates raid the town, and oh, this is a problem. The Candy Pirates are the most feared pirates in the game. Lucci beats the captain with his hands in his pocket. Then they beat up the whole crew and are hailed as the heroes of St. Poplar, except Lucci, who scares the citizens by going too far. Now that they brought so much attention to themselves, they have to leave. They end up going back to their home and see the next generation of CP agents being trained. The minute they step foot on the island, they're tracked down by Navy operatives, but come on man, these randoms not beating them. Meanwhile, we have Spandam. He gets a call from Rob Lucci announcing that they will be back someday, which scares the shit out of Spandam, and the CP9 crew sails off. I like this cover story, but it does leave a big question. If this is how their relationship with the world government was, how did they end up back working with the world government? But regardless, it was pretty cool to see CP9 have some camaraderie and stuff, and not just be psychopathic murderers. Next was gonna be the Straw Hat cover story, but I honestly feel like the anime does such a good job covering those, and it just honestly does a better job than I could, so just watch the anime, nigga. But for our final cover story, we have Caribou, and this nigga do not learn. Obviously, at the end of Fishman Island, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji beat the shit out of him. But he wakes up and goes straight back to the mermaid spot and gets beat down again, this time by Jambe. Jambe then escorts Caribou back to his brother and crew. Except, no he doesn't. He taunts them and then swims off with Caribou at top speed. Why is that so funny to me? He lures them all the way to the G5 Navy base, which, if you remember from Punk Hazard, is full of crazy people. It's said that they act more like pirates than Marines. And Jinbei has literally started a war between G5 and the Caribou pirates, all in like a couple of minutes. Caribou saves Caribou. Who are your parents, bro? And Caribou repays him by taking off without him. Wow. But as some kind of instant karma, Caribou's ship is hit by a massive wave and he is once again separated from his crew. Eventually, he makes it to an island and is nursed to health by an old lady. And this grimy steals her jewelry and food while she sleeps. But Granny wakes up and gives the food to him anyway, so. On his way out, Caribou is mistaken for someone named Gobble. But before he can find out more, Granny scares the people off. Caribou is curious about this Gobble stuff and goes back to town to investigate. He ends up coming across a bunch of people being forced to make weapons and finds out that they idolize the Revolutionary Army. Gobble is a member of the Revs as well. And yes, I'm gonna keep calling him Gobble, not this Gobble nonsense. We American. The Revolutionary meeting is disrupted by a giant robot who basically clears them all out. This guy is Stotch, who, if you remember, is a part of Kaido's crew. He fought Drake on that one snowy island. The only person left is Granny, and Caribou realizes Gobble is her grandson. Still believing Caribou to be Gobble, she tells him to run until she's smacked away by Stotch. You think Caribou's gonna have this heroic moment, but no, he runs out and leaves Granny to die. When he gets to shore, he realizes his crew is there waiting for him, and Caribou instantly forgives Caribou, which he definitely does not deserve. Stotch still has Granny held hostage and presents her to Caribou, which is like, why? You literally won and went to antagonize him for no reason. Regardless, Caribou dresses up as Gobble and fights back against Stotch and his men. He beats Stotch, destroying his factory in the process, and is praised as a hero. I'm sick to my fucking stomach. But thankfully, by the grace of God, Caribou's celebration is interrupted by Drake, who arrests him. And in the end, it's revealed Granny knew he wasn't Gobble the whole time. There's a lot of things I can say about this cover story, but mainly, I just hate Caribou. But yeah, man, that's all I got for y'all boys today. I'm not even gonna ask which one is your favorite cover story, because I already know the answer, but tell me which one was the worst cover story. Like the video if you like the video. I have an announcement to make. I'm currently in the hospital with a terminal illness. The doctors say I have 3 weeks to live. The only cure is if you like the video. So if you want me to live, like the fucking video. Subscribe to the channel. And yeah, man, I'm gone. Damn.